Hello, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, whoever is fan. um, Forget my husband, I'll go make money. Chapter 7. Sorry for the background noise. I don't know why they decided to make that noise now. So, you are a pervert. Good. Tarkan's forehead creased at the shameful misunderstanding. I'm pretty sure I said I will not eat you, though. Aristine, who was quietly watching him, shifted her eyes away and mumbled. The fact that you even considered it, when I practically look like dirt itself. She omitted the latter half of that sentence as if she was trying to say she will respect the taste of a pervert. You're the one who said we were still unmarried when I asked you to wash up. Tarkan said in a low voice, like he was forcing those words out. However, that sort of intimidation couldn't work on Aristine. I did say that, but I didn't mean it that way. The woman, for the first time, Tarkan could tell what she was thinking, and at the same time a question arose in his mind. What kind of woman is this? Since we're not yet married, we cannot bathe together. First of all, they had to draw a fur line between each other. Aristine was only reminding him of a simple fact. Tarkan looked down at himself. The blood of the Monarch beast was splattered all over his clothes, and it was unavoidable because he came here right after the battle. The stains were covered when he was carrying her in the long silk cloth, but now that he had put her down, there was nothing to cover it up. The first way he appeared to his bride was covered in the blood of the Monarch beasts, but Tarkan didn't care. This blood was proof of his victory. It was a sign of his battles and pride as a warrior. However, to call it dirty, not only that, but incredibly dirty. How can she compare this to dust? Now that I think about it, he expected the princess of Sylvanus to turn pale or scream when she saw blood, but she didn't. Even the Irigo people who had the blood of warriors were scared and trembled when they saw him. But this woman was calm. She was neither afraid nor in awe. Starting from her dusty appearance, his bride was nothing like he expected. What a strange woman, but that was it. He wasn't going to get any more involved with this woman. All she would get from him was the title of the prince's wife. I'll be taking a bath somewhere else. Ah. Aristine nodded in understanding when Tarkan said that. Normally, a palace had several places for bathing. Her mind understood that, but she had lived confined for so long that she habitually didn't think of it. All right then. Aristine hurriedly got up from the sofa. He was in a good mood. It's a normal palace, so I should be able to bathe with warm water, right? He wasn't asking for too much. He'd be happy if it was lukewarm at least. No, as long as it's not too cold. Tarkan looked at the woman who he just couldn't tell what was going on through her mind. He wondered what she was thinking about right now. She's not treating me like a pervert again, is she? Even when he looked even when he looked at her with narrowed eyes, he couldn't figure out anything. The hall he was currently in had no doors, and it was surrounded by pillars. And each pillar was either connected to a garden or a corridor. So even after Aristine left, I see. It bothered her because it didn't look like that was the case. But Diana didn't push it any farther. At this point, digging into it because she was curious would only make Tarkan annoyed. Instead, she began talking about Aristine in a gentle tone. Wait a second. The princess. She's very different from what I was expecting. Tarkan nodded half-heartedly. There was no hint of interest in his dull golden eye. I guess he's not that interested in her. Well, I did expect that. Diana hid her satisfied smile and nestled closer to Tarkan with concern on her face. What do you think she meant by coming here looking like that? Especially when she's marrying your highness. It doesn't look like she has good intentions. While backbiting coquettishly, Diana suggestively stroked the arm of Tarkan she was holding. There's likely a reason behind it. A reason? You saw what my damn siblings were saying too. She doesn't look like a fool who didn't expect this, and she doesn't seem to have any intentions of mocking me. Diana was somewhat surprised when Tarkan defended Aristine. This was the first time she was hearing him defend someone he didn't even know that well. But she soon erased the surprise from her face and lowered her eyes submissively. Tarkan didn't exactly raise his voice, but she felt his mood sink a little. Quick to notice what was wrong, Diana stopped clinging to his sturdy arm, moved away, and straightened herself. That might be true, but there's no way to tell with her. At those words, Tarkan unconscious turned to look at the corridor where Aristine had disappeared. Indeed, you really can't tell with that woman. Diana paused and looked up at Tarkan. The sight of him staring in the direction Aristine had disappeared was unfamiliar. His eyes were as cold as usual. His indifferent face did not have a hint of a smile, and his expression was in no way gentle as he thought about Aristine. However, the smile on Diana's face slowly disappeared. Seriously, Tarkan mumbled as he recalled that woman. Her expression had stayed the same from the first time he saw her till she left. It was the point where he almost mistook her for having no emotions. Her face had changed little by little, but it was not a noticeable change. The only time her expression really changed was that moment, the moment when he carried her up. Her violet's eyes were fully exposed, and they widened immensely at her predicament. She had been much smaller and lighter than he expected, so he was startled. I thought she was crying, he thought. She was crying in that situation where she was getting shamed by herself. But when he got closer, he realized that wasn't true at all. Her expressionless face seemed rather firm. Rather than saying she was frozen stiff from fear, her face was just indifferent. She grew up as the Princess of Sylvanus, so she shouldn't be familiar with such treatment, though. It made him curious why someone of noble blood like herself was the only one who was 30. An unreadable woman, the woman who will be my wife, my bride. Even when the political marriage was decided, he had never been conscious of her like this. Your Highness Tarkan. Diana's voice brought him back to reality. Do you like the princess, perhaps? That's the end of chapter 7. Sorry for the break in the middle. I had to deal with a bewildered kitten. Chapter 8. It's hot water. There's even a bathtub. The moment she saw the steam rising from the bathtub, Aristine was delighted. Let us help you. Aristine left the cool ladies to their devices as they busied themselves. took off her clothes, and began washing her here and there. Apart from when she was very young, she had never been served in the bathroom, so she felt a little awkward, but she had been a royal family member from birth. Hence, she never thought it was embarrassing for servants to see her body. In the first place, Aristine was not the type to care how people looked at her. After all, she had been alone since she was a child and never had to worry about other people. They are good at their job. That thought crossed her mind when she saw how fast their hands moved and how they washed her politely without showing any displeasure. Right now, Aristine was so dirty that no one would want to touch her. However, the fact that they didn't even frown was amazing. They only asked her, "Is it too hot, or should I go a little softer?" In other words, very businesslike and professional. For Aristine, who had lived disregarded by her maids, their attitude was impressive. The good manners of the court ladies means my future husband is very capable and charismatic. It was nice to know that the person she planned to negotiate with had outstanding capability. Please close your eyes again. Warm water flowed down the lines of her face. Aristine closed her eyes and thought about Tarkan, about what she was going to do from now on. She sank into thought, then she realized something was strange. The hands washing her face and body had stopped. Are they done? She quietly opened her eyes and met with the eyes of the court ladies who were staring blankly at her. "Ah," one of the court ladies unconsciously gasped. Water droplets quivered as her long wet lashes moved up, and her mysterious violet eyes, akin to a dawning sky, were fully revealed underneath. Aristine wiped away the water in her eyes, then she looked at the court ladies. They were not different from the other one. All of them were staring at her, not moving their hands. Something the matter? The court ladies were awakened by Aristine's words and lowered their heads. "No, princess, I'm sorry, princess." Aristine wondered what made act them that way, when they barely had any reaction to her dirtiness, but she kept her mouth shut. After a few more rinses, Aristine could finally enter the bathtub. "Ah, this is nice." Aristine was alone after sending out the servants and leaned against the head of the bathtub in a blissful mood. Her body was already sinking into laziness. Just this alone made her feel it was worth marrying into Irigo. "I want just to rest. I'll think about what I should do in the future later." As if something had read her mind, the surface of the water wobbled, sensing that something was about to be shown to her. Aristine frowned. "He just has to show me stuff at a time like this. It seems resting would have to be put off until later." Tarkan, the person who appeared on the mirroring surface, was her future husband. Standing next to him was a seductive woman with dark blue hair. When is this? I think it's from today. Either in the near future or in the recent past, or right now. Tarkan's outfit was the same as when she last saw him. Even if you claimed that he liked clothes with the same design, it was unlikely that he would still be wearing the outfit with the blood splattered over it. Aristine could also see the sofa he had placed her on beside him. When will this man go and take a bath? She thought. Even if it was a political marriage. He didn't like dirty men. Aristine hoped the scene he was seeing was in the past. Please, I hope he's taking a bath right now. Just then, the woman in the water's surface opened her mouth. Do you like the princess, perhaps? Aristine was startled by those words. Wait, you're talking about me? Then again, he had just met his marriage partner for the first time, so it made sense for her to come up with a conversation. How does he usually behave to get asked that question? To think the woman was suspecting him of liking a mass of dust. I knew it. He's a pervert. What? The Tarkan reflected on the water's surface, asked in a low voice, and looked down at the woman. Aristine had this feeling ever since she first saw him, but he was he was very handsome. She had seen so many men through her Monarch sight, as it was honestly the first time she had seen such a handsome man. Just by looking down like that, he gave a dangerous feeling similar to a crouching beast. Perhaps the woman in front of him also felt it, because she tensed up, and her shoulders shrunk back a little. You're asking if I like that woman? His tone was carefree. It was the exact opposite of the fierce attitude he had when Aristine spoke to him earlier. However, the carefreeness made him appear more dangerous. That is impossible, Tarkan said with a chuckle. The corner of his lips curled up, giving him a crooked smile. Perhaps this was how he usually looked. Don't you know as well? His golden eyes moved slightly. My heart will never change. After she was done bathing, Aristine headed out under the guidance of the court ladies. Would you like us to call your handmaids, princess? They are still learning their way around the palace. The court lady who was guiding her carefully asked. It seems they were worried she might be uncomfortable because illegal people had been serving her ever since she arrived. For Aristine, the illegal people were much more comfortable to be around than the Sylvanians. No, it's fine. I understand. Then allow me to guide you to your room. No. Aristine stopped the court lady before she started walking. Take me to Tarkan. Yes, princess. Faint curiosity arose on the court lady's face, but she bowed courteously without asking anything. I want to rest too, you know. We had traveled in the carriage for a month, and due to the maid's harassment at intervals, he couldn't wash or rest properly. After experiencing all that, of course he was more than happy to take a bath and put on new clothes. The clothes prepared by the illegal people were even soft and warm, and he felt incredible. Now, if only she could sleep under a dry blanket, things would be perfect. But there is something I have to do first. She had to bring her husband to her side, instead of having him side with other people. Tarkan was in a room not too far from the hall they were in earlier. Your Highness, the princess is here. Even though the court lady reported her arrival, a reply did not come right away. He felt like he wasn't happy about Aristine's visit. Maybe he's with that woman from earlier. Aristine recalled the slender woman with long, dark blue hair. I wanted the negotiation to be one-on-one if possible, but maybe this was in a good way. The cards that Aristine could play had a chance of increasing. It was natural for there not to be love in a political marriage. If that woman was Tarkan's lover, then nailing home the natural fact could be seen as an attractive condition. I can throw in one more thing. Love was unnecessary in political marriage. But as it was a union of families, a child with the blood of both families was essential. But I don't need that. That would be a pretty strong card. Normally, even if the bride didn't want love, they usually wanted to make their child king. However, Aristine didn't want that. All she wanted was one thing: freedom. She wanted to see the illusion that was reflected on the water surface with her own 2 eyes. Going wherever she wanted to go, seeing whatever she wanted to see, and eating whatever she wanted to eat. To be able to do whatever she wanted to. To make sure that no one could ever confine her anymore. That was her goal. To do that, I need a lot of money. Aristine put her business plans on the back burner for now. Now was the time to focus on getting Tarkan's cooperation. The door, which had been shut tight so far, opened as though permission had been granted. Once she stepped into the room, she saw Tarkan right away. He turned his head towards the door, seemingly annoyed, then froze in place like he was surprised by something. As his eyes widened slightly, there were signs of obvious unrest in them. Standing next to him was a woman who she saw through the Monarch's eye. She looked like she was serving tea. She doesn't look like a maid, though. Well, maids were not the only one who could serve tea. The woman was also looking at Aristine with surprise in her eyes. Then her gaze quickly moved to study Tarkan's expression. She looked anxious. Why is that? Aristine entered the room with doubt in her mind. Princess? Tarkan managed to ask. Aristine nodded her head, looking at her with puzzlement in her eyes, even though her attitude showed she was curious about his behavior. Tarkan couldn't give any response. Really, that princess? End of chapter 8. I hope you're liking the novel and it's understandable enough so far. Just give me a sec. I'll slow it in. Chapter 9. So you are a pervert. Part 4. Even though he asked to be sure and even got confirmation, he couldn't believe it. Her hair, whose original color was difficult to tell with the oil and dust, had a silvery glow like a slightly dyed lilac flower. Even when she was dirty, her eyes had a mysterious beauty to them, not to mention now. Her long cast-down lashes were like butterflies' wings. Her lips looked full like a blooming petal, yet also soft. Perhaps because she had just finished taking a bath, her damp hair and the rosiness on her cheek made whoever was looking at her feel strange. You know how? A thin jawline, a deep neckline, a clear white skin that almost seemed transparent. Tarkan had never reacted like this to someone's appearance. Not even the fair beauties that came to the palace could attract his eyes. But the woman in front of him right now? It's just because she looked so different from before, Tarkan hastily concluded in his mind. Aristine glanced at the two people who were acting strange. Then she tossed it out of her mind and sat in the chair. Judging from how the teacups were set on the table, it looked like they had brought an additional one out for herself. Even after she sat down, no one poured tea for her. So Aristine... There was no expression on her face, so Diana couldn't tell how she felt. She had no idea whether the princess was offended or simply didn't care. Even that part of her seemed mysterious and strange. It was baffling that her expressionless face could look this attractive, and I was happy when I heard the third princess was coming instead of the second. With this, there was no reason for her to be happy, even though Tarkan wasn't the type to be interested in a woman's appearance. Who knew what would happen if he was faced with such a beautiful woman every day? He was definitely shaken up earlier too. Diana squeezed the teapot in her hand even tighter. It was very rare for Tarkan to look shaken by anything, but after this woman came, he had already been shaken up several times. And he's only seen her for a few minutes. Trying her best to hide her surging emotions, Diana bowed to Aristine after pouring the tea. Greetings to the princess. My name is Diana. I see. Even her voice was clear and elegant. Diana tried to smile, but couldn't do anything about the gloominess in her heart. You may leave now. At Tarkan's words, Diana, who was in the middle of arranging the tea set, paused. I should leave? So it's just the two of you? but she soon gave a flawless smile and bowed her head. The core ladies also left with her, leaving Aristine and Tarkan alone in the room. Silence fell over the room. Tarkan opened his mouth to speak first. What is it? What do you mean? I believe you came to see me because you have something to say. We're going to be a married couple soon. Must there be a reason for me to have tea with you? Indeed, at least between you and me. It's more rigid than I expected. Aristine thought, humming to herself. If she tried having a pleasant chat, lighting up the mood, she might get kicked out before she could even talk about what she wanted. It seemed it would be best to forget the introductions and get straight to the point. Anyway, you accepted this marriage too, did you not? At those words, Tarkan wrinkled his brow in disapproval. His expression was saying it was not his decision to accept the marriage with Aristine. No, same goes for me too. Do you think I volunteered to marry you? Aristine mumbled to herself, bring the tea to her lips. The scent floating into her nose was enchanting. The warm tea glided smoothly over her tongue and went down her throat. This was her first time drinking such high-quality tea. It was honestly delicious. She liked it quite a bit. She didn't come here because she wanted to or because she liked to, but this sort of thing was nice. But let's keep it to myself. Tarkan doesn't have to know. Well, all right. I didn't come here to see you for a friendly chat. Aristine straightened her back and looked straight at Tarkan. Since Diana was gone, she had to talk about something more certain than love or lovers. Using an outside relationship was her second best option. The thing Aristine was more confident about was her own ability. I will be straightforward with you. A pair of golden eyes like the sun and purple eyes like a dawn in the sky, flash in the air. Do business with me. That's the end of chapter 9. Thank you for listening. Sorry for the bad spelling and the constant interruption. Again, once my skill improved, I'll edit some of the videos and probably even redo them. Thank you for reading. Thank you for your support. Please support the original work. I'm just doing this to help people who struggle reading or who are such fans that don't want to stop reading the book, but at the same time they want to do something else because of work, chores around the house, anything else. So please feel free to hear me. Any comments, improvements, I'm open for them. Thank you. Bye.